Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and today we're checking out Pitfall for the Atari 2600.
Released in 1982, this was developed and published by Activision. It's basically considered to be one of the most important games of all time, so yeah, I guess we'll see if it's worth all the hype. As if we've never played this before until now.
It's worth the hype! Oh, sorry, I mean no spoilers. Let's see!
Well, review's over. Anyway, let's just get into it.
Better than River Raid.
Don't you fucking dare.
The graphics. For an Atari game, this one is pretty damn good. As you heard from our review of Adventure, one of my biggest problems was that the main sprite was represented by just a square. And then there's a game like this where your main protagonist, Pitfall Harry, actually looks like a guy running. And there's a nice little animation when he runs, he looks good when he jumps. Plus you have different moving objects on the screen, sometimes multiple, which can include the log, a roaring fire, a snake, crocodiles, scorpions, and they even decided to not be lazy to change the tree line a little bit. They didn't do a full rehab on the background each time, but still, just little things like that made this game seem like it had a lot more going on than it really did. Not to mention, some of the traps, like the pitfalls themselves, can appear and disappear on screen, and we were just impressed with how it looked. The colors look good, and when I think of one of the better looking Atari games, this is where my mind goes to. So we both gave it 8s. When it comes to beer, I'm not even going to add any. I like what these designers did for this game.
Alright, the sound. I guess I'll start with the negative, and the one big negative here is that there is no music once again. So that's always a downer. And by 1982, I think maybe some games had background music, probably not too much. So it's not a big killer when you take the whole Atari lifespan into account. So the sound effects, they're pretty good. You have the jumping sound effect, which you're going to hear all the goddamn time. And then you have the little jingle as he does the Tarzan roar going across the ponds as he's on the vine.
Hey, Jim!
Oh, what?
With the perfect song to go with his little Tarzan jumpy Tarzan boy.
Oh, jeez, fucking. Well, at least I know what the name of that song is now.
Tarzan boy.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Couldn't do this without you, I swear to God. Anyway, so you get a couple sound effects when you pick up gold pieces and for little things here and there. So, nothing too crazy, but certainly doesn't take away from the game. And, I mean, we giggle every time we hear that Tarzan roar. And don't. God damn it! I said no!
Tee!
So, Brad gave it a 7, and I gave it a 6. And when it comes to beer, I guess I'll give one beer for goddamn Tarzan boy.
You love it, Jim!
That's going to be stuck in my head for a week now.
As always with the control, I'm going to keep it really short. It's an Atari game, so it works really well, but it feels kind of stiff.
Like a dick.
Really, Jim?
Hi.
I'm trying to keep this thing highbrow.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tarzan boy.
Damn right. The Atari joystick is best suited for shooters, in my opinion. Not that it can't do platformers well, but like we said, it's just a little bit stiff. Obviously, it's nothing that stops you from enjoying the game, and that really adds to the overall challenge, but it's not perfect. So we gave it 9s. It's as close to perfect as we're going to get, and I'm going to have beer for Jim being so goddamn lowbrow.
I am not lowbrow. I am both classy and elegant, I'll have you know.
You're not like your mama.
Thank you. Anyway, on to the gameplay before you can say something else.
Sex!
God damn it.
Sounds familiar.
God. Well, never gonna hear that song the same again. Anyway, the gameplay. So, the game comes down to a very basic concept. It's a platformer with multiple screens. You go from screen to screen with different obstacles, and you basically try to go all over the world to get the gold pieces to finish the game. The game ends in one of 3 ways. Either you find all 32 gold pieces, or you die, or you run out of time. This game's actually surprisingly tricky and tough. Getting the patterns down for shit like the alligators or those surprise pitfalls, they can just come out of nowhere, and unless you really know what to look for and to watch your step, you're probably going to have to play this a lot to finish it. There's actually a perfect score that you can get too, and you can only do that by getting every single piece of gold without losing a single point. and you lose points when you touch obstacles, so good luck with that one. Overall, though, I mean, it's a really solid game. You have the caverns below, which have their own obstacles. You can bypass some stuff, or they also have some secrets hidden in there. It's just like, they fit so much onto such a small cart. So it's just credit to the producers, and let's face it, it's so important to the world of platformers, it really just can't be understated. So when it comes to scores, Brian gave it a 7, and I gave it an 8. Not to say it isn't important or fun, but after a while, maybe it just doesn't stick with us the way it does other games. And when it comes to beer, I'll just give it 1 beer for really being surprisingly tough.
The originality. Hot damn, did this game set the standard for all side-scrolling platformers moving forward. Much like Adventure, how that kind of set the standard for adventure games and exploration games, this really helped define what it is to jump over obstacles, move from one area to another, and just avoid all these pitfalls. And we gotta be honest, before this, you didn't see much, especially on the Atari. I've said it for each review at this point, the Atari is primarily and best known for its shooters, so a game like this was really innovative for the time, and Jim already kind of mentioned the fact that you had up to, a ton of different screens you had to go through to find all 32 treasures. So we have to applaud the hell out of this game for some really innovative thinking, and something that seems very basic and standard to us now. This was a brand new experience. We couldn't help but give it 10s. When it comes to beer, I'm going to give 1 celebratory beer for being a trendsetter and really breaking away from the standard formula for video games at that time.
When it comes to replayability, it's kind of a tough one, because it's going to take you a while to learn all the different traps and how to beat all the different obstacles, but it really also doesn't have that score attack kind of gameplay that the arcades and that Atari games at the time were really known for. At its essence, it doesn't have the most replay value in the world, but for an Atari game, it's just so damn fun and somewhat challenging that you'll keep coming back for more. So Brian gave it a 6, and I gave it a 7. And when it comes to beer, I'll just add 1 beer for those goddamn crocodiles. Fuck, I hate those things.
Overall, Jim and I really enjoy this game. Of the games we've already reviewed for the Atari, this one's been my favorite because it seems to be the least repetitive of the 3, and I really like the added challenge of moving from screen to screen, trying to figure out how each screen is different from one another, traversing the different pitfalls. It's all stuff we really enjoyed, and there's something still very timeless about hearing that little Tarzan yell when you go across the pond. It brings a smile to my face. I don't know what to say. So we both gave it 8s, well above average, and it can't be understated enough. This could easily and should be one of your first purchases with your Atari 2600 if you get it right now. When we combined all of our scores together, well, would you look at that, it rounds out to a perfect 8. If you will notice, it is 1 score higher than River Raid, just saying.
It's because of your bullshit, that's why.
You actually rated this higher than me.
Bullshit.
So, that stands to reason. Some people may think it's a perfect 10 for the Atari. Once again, we really don't do perfect 10s unless something comes along and really blows us away.
We're not Ty Dillinger.
I don't even know who that is.
He's not worth knowing.
God damn it. When it comes to beer pairing, I'm going to go with the Tin Whistle Brewing Company's Scorpion Double IPA. Obviously, I'm influenced by the Scorpion and seeing those in the Pitfall game, but this is actually a pretty damn good double IPA if you can get your hands on it. Comes in at 8%, it's not too hoppy, and it goes down fairly smooth. If you can find a couple bottles of this, then enjoy yourself. But remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, or better yet, why not subscribe? Till next time, guys, cheers.